What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to my channel. And speaking of my channel, you may have noticed that it has a new name. The new name is officially Kids OT Help. If you haven't seen the video yet in which I reveal Kids OT Help, I will link it up here for you. So a while back, I posted a video on here called Baby-Led Weaning for Beginners, Tips and Tricks. If you have not seen that video, I would highly recommend it before watching this video. That video really goes over how to get going with the baby-led weaning method and what it is all about. Also breaks down some history for you. But here today, I thought it would be great to go over some commonly asked questions for baby-led weaning beginners. I've received a lot of questions from you guys, and some of them were in the same category or very similar to one another. So I thought I'd break down some of your most common questions today. The first question I will address is, if your baby has teeth, should you be more cautious or concerned for their ability to bite off pieces of food and potentially choke? So I will relate mama to mama with you guys here. If I did not have the training and knowledge and education that I do in feeding and swallowing, I honestly don't know that I would be game to try this method, because yeah, it really does seem terrifying worrying about your child choking, biting off pieces of food and not being able to manage it. I totally get it. However, and this is the game changer for me, your 6-month-old or 7-month-old baby comes equipped with an extra safety feature that older babies do not have. So I mentioned this in the prior baby-led weaning video, but it's totally worth repeating because I don't think that it's common knowledge, and it really took a lot of stress off my mind when trying this method. So that safety feature is your baby's anterior gag reflex. Up until about 9 months of age or so, your baby's gag reflex is triggered in the first 2/3 of their mouth, versus older children and adults, our gag reflex is triggered in the back 1/3 of our mouth. So if a baby gets a chunk of food in their mouth that they're not safe with, they have that awesome gag reflex that's gonna push that food forward, and their tongue's likely going to push it straight out of their mouth. If you think about it that way, if you were to give a 6-month-old the same food that you would a 10-month-old, and both of these children are equally inexperienced with food, but one has that extra safety feature of the anterior gag, while the 10-month-old's reflex already moved to the back of their mouth, which age would you feel more comfortable starting this method with? Probably the one where they have the anterior gag reflex, because it's just an extra way to protect their airway and prevent them from choking on pieces of food that they might not be safe with. And that's why I could get behind this method. But something you need to keep in mind is whether your child has teeth or no teeth, babies' gums are really hard, and if they're determined, they will gnaw off a piece of food just as they would if they had a couple of teeth. So really, your baby is able to get pieces of food off regardless of whether they have teeth or not. Of course, depending on the texture and the hardness of the food that you're offering. You may be very pleasantly surprised to see how your baby can instinctively move pieces of food that they feel unsafe with out of their mouth. And I have an awesome example of Kai doing this that I want to show you guys.
So right here, you see that piece he's managed to chew off, and you'll actually watch him spit out the pieces he doesn't feel safe with. And here comes another piece out the mouth.
That's pretty good. Something else that's super important for your parents to remember is that gagging and choking are not the same thing. Gagging is a protective response to protect your child's airway and to move the food forward or out of the mouth, while choking is an occlusion of the airway. But I get it, gagging sounds kind of intense and it is scary, and a lot of people sometimes confuse gagging and choking. The next question is, my 6-month-old doesn't put anything in his mouth that is finger food as well as toys. Should I be concerned? So with baby-led weaning, if your child isn't able to bring items to their mouth, and especially if they're not yet showing an interest in food, I would not recommend starting baby-led weaning yet. Those are two really important prerequisites when it comes to beginning baby-led weaning. If your child isn't demonstrating an interest in food, they're not going to be motivated by food. Motivation, motivation, motivation is key to learning anything. So if your child isn't demonstrating an interest or they're not motivated by food, this isn't the time to start baby-led weaning. The next question is probably one of the more popular questions on my video, not necessarily to baby-led weaning, but for my subscribers, because I kind of goofed in the video. I get asked a lot whether I cooked the vegetables that I offered Kai. And that's totally my bad, because I went through and showed you guys how I prepped or cut up these items, but then I didn't tell you how long I cooked them for. So sorry about that. Yes, I did cook the zucchini and the broccoli. I threw it on the George Foreman grill for about 2 to 3 minutes. So the trick is you want your vegetables to be cooked, but not so soft that they're gonna fall apart in your child's mouth once they start playing with it. So I kept them on the firmer side, but you know, cooked so that they have the flavor and they're warm. There's a lot of sensory components that go into cooking the food. They have the smell, they have the taste, they get the feel of the warmth. So definitely cook it, just keep it on the firmer side. I did not cook the celery. For those of you who are unaware, celery actually has a natural pain relieving component to it. So I just cut up some celery and gave that to Kai because he was teething. And again, it's just something for him to explore, and very, very, very unlikely that your child's gonna be able to bite off a piece of celery and you're gonna have to worry about that. Not saying it's impossible, but that is definitely a tougher consistency to get through. So the next question is, my baby is almost 1 year old. I used to spoon feed him and offer him some food to explore and eat on his own. But for 2 weeks now, he wouldn't open his mouth unless he is holding his food. He won't take anything from me. I started offering him all his food to hold and eat, and he takes his time exploring it, playing with it and trying to eat it, but he isn't taking enough food. I wonder if he will get used to it and feed himself, or is it too late? Any tips? I wish I knew about baby-led weaning earlier. I love this one. I love this comment. I love this question, because this, to me, is a very clear indication that your child is so ready to feed themselves. Your baby is like, out of my way, mama, I've got this. Just so you guys know, from 6 to 12 months, you have a ginormous window in which your baby is really motivated by food, which is why baby-led weaning could be an awesome option for a lot of families, because you're giving your child the opportunity to explore foods and develop a healthy relationship around food. As far as you being concerned with how much your child is eating, this is a slogan that I live by. Take it or leave it, guys, but it's nice to remember in times where you might be feeling stressed about how much your child is consuming. The slogan goes, food is for fun until age 1. What that means is, don't stress. Until your child is over the age of 1, their primary source of nutrition will either be breast milk or formula, and food is literally for fun. You give it to them to explore, and again, like I said, to build that healthy, happy, confident relationship with food. And as a mom, I really appreciated baby-led weaning for this, because it gave me a window in which I didn't have to stress about how much Kai was consuming, and he can develop his oral motor skills so that by the time I was done with breastfeeding, he had become pretty proficient and had developed his oral motor skills far enough where I felt comfortable with the amount of food he was eating and his ability to safely manage the food. So as a mama, this is just another reason why I really enjoyed this method with Kai. I didn't have to obsessively watch him to see how much he was consuming. It took the pressure off of me, and more importantly, it took the pressure off of him. And it was just offering him consistent and repetitive opportunities to practice the skills needed to self-feed, which is exactly what we want for our kiddos, right? Giving your child these opportunities to practice should lend itself to an efficient eater who's able to consume enough food after you're done weaning them. So the last question I want to share with you guys is, what would you suggest for me? I want to start baby-led weaning, and my son is 7 months, but I started feeding him with baby food. Is it too late to start since he's used to the puree? So that question is twofold. It's totally fine if your child is past the 6-month mark. If they're 7 months or 8 months old, Some babies may take till 7 or 8 months to reach the 4 readiness signs, which are mentioned in the book. If you're unfamiliar with that, check out that previous video. But it may take them 7 or 8 months to be able to hold their head up, to sit up on their own, to be showing an interest in food, or to be bringing items to their mouth. So definitely don't worry if your child is older than 6 months. Each child is on their own trajectory and it may take them a little bit longer. As far as beginning purees before starting baby-led weaning, I think that is totally fine. A lot of parents choose to do a hybrid method of the baby-led weaning. Maybe they are doing purees and they're introducing just bits of food. And that's completely fine. It's not a all or nothing method. And ultimately, you know your child best and what's going to work best for your family dynamic. So by all means, just because you've started purees does not mean you can't now jump into solids and give your child that opportunity to continue practicing and developing those feeding skills that are necessary for our independent and confident kiddos. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you have any new questions or concerns that come to mind, feel free to leave them down below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, definitely do that. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any updates on my latest videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.